We have, and I consider myself to be incredibly privileged to be able to walk alongside and be inspired by Rod Grimes. Many of you know Rod. We celebrated his mom's 100th birthday just a few weeks ago. And many of you know that Rod has published his first and new book, The Blue in Me. Rod, will you join me up here? So this has been a miracle in the making, but I know that you have somebody that is standing alongside you that has been the inspiration for this. So why don't you share what your inspiration was that caused this, and then we'll talk a little bit about this.
Okay, absolutely. Good morning. It's a pleasure to stand before you and share with you the journey that I am on as it relates to my book and sharing with the world my career path. It was never an intention to write a book when I started my career, and it went for 40 years. But that was never the intent to write a book. But one day, I was just sitting and thinking about life. And I was thinking about my granddaughter and how I wanted to leave her with something that she can look back on over her lifetime and say, this is what my granddad did with his life, how he made a difference in our community. So this beautiful young lady here is my 15-year-old granddaughter, Maia. She was the inspiration to put the pen to paper and make this become a reality.
So we didn't talk ahead of time. You could ask everybody here. I'd never give anybody any warning. So you're part of the family this morning. So in a minute, I'm going to ask you a question. But right now, I want to ask your grandfather a question. So over those 40 years, you served with the Detroit Police Department. Your career, the capstone, was as chief of police for Detroit Public Schools. And this is what I love about this book. I can't say this any longer, because I used to say that we have lots of people who are writing books, but at the time we only had two authors, Glenn and Adam. But by the end of this month, you're going to find out we got a lot of authors in this house who are writing what's on their hearts. So the cool part about this is that this is the first of a trilogy. So we know there's 2 more books coming. But in this book, what did you pour into? What is it that you'd like to have everyone here know why you wrote this and what is in here that you believe will touch their hearts?
So writing this book for me was an opportunity to share not only with my family, but with the world, with this community, Metro Detroit and beyond, the life of a police officer in the city of Detroit. My journey started 46 years now ago, 1978. As a young man, I decided my true calling was not what, like Reverend Glenn has mentioned in the past, how most young men, as boys, we aspired to be professional athletes. Well, for me, it was not basketball, as most people would think. It was baseball. I had a great opportunity, a great experience as I grew up and playing the sport that I truly loved. That was a sport that I was going to play for just room and board if I could, because I loved the game that much. But due to an injury, that career had a sudden end to it. But as I always tell young people, you always have to plan for not only your plan A, but your plan B and C. Don't just stop at B, put a third one there because you never know what may happen in your life. So plan A went awry, and plan B for me was to get back in school, get my degree, and become a certified public accountant. I love numbers. But one day, while in class, it just really hit me. No, your true calling is to serve and protect. And I left school that day and went to Detroit Police Department recruiting office and signed and applied for the career. And I say career because it's not just a job. A police officer is a profession, and it is a career path. And so for me, my career path was a journey that was, for me, amazing. And when I say that, and you will read, hopefully, that career for 25 years with Detroit Police Department was my first career. 25 years I served there, and it was an amazing journey for me. I wasn't only a patrol officer, which I enjoyed immensely because I was out in the community. I was working with those that I was serving. I wasn't a officer that liked to stay in the car and only go from call to call. I enjoy getting out of that car and walking in our community and meeting the citizens that we were serving. I wanted to build that bond and help forge that divide between police and community. As a young officer, I knew that that was the path to building a safer community because police cannot do it all alone. So I had that in me from day one. My career went for 25 years, and the career path was amazing. I mean, wow. That's what I say, wow, when I think back on going from just a patrol officer and then moving into different units within our police department. The highlight of my career I will share, and then I'll pass the mic back, because one thing that you don't do is give Rod Grimes a mic. I'm going to tell you, you don't give Rod Grimes a mic. I'll share this real quick. But at my retirement, my second retirement, I talked for 90 minutes at my retirement party, and they had to make me put the mic away. But in my career, I had the pleasure of serving. The highlight was serving on the mayor's security detail. And that's a privilege that very few officers get, and the experience that come behind it if you're doing the job the way you're supposed to do it. It's going to be really amazing. You will leave with the feeling of gratitude that you served your community in a way that's uniquely different than most other officers, because at the end of the day, my job was to make sure that our mayor went home safe every day. So I'll stop for a minute and give the mic back to Brett.
They've all adjusted their schedule. The problem is we have a movie that's showing at 11, so we're going to be in trouble. So you joined the force in the 70s. Stress was very close to that time. And there's a lot of young people who are here today. And in recognition of the time that we have, and that this conversation needs a deeper dive than the couple of minutes we're going to spend on this. But as an African-American male serving in law enforcement, coming into your career, understanding the divide that was always present and especially sensitive then, and now from this vantage point, seeing what we've witnessed from George Floyd to any other example, whether it is one that isn't on the headlines, but one that's shared over a cup of coffee. Hey, what do I do? This happened to me. From your place of wisdom, with your granddaughter standing next to you, what is your vision and your hope for what this looks like going forward?
So that's a very, very deep question. The hope is that we as humans, individuals, people, regardless of race, come together and just realize something that's very simple. We all are the same. If we stop allowing our skin complexion to be the motivation to how we treat one another, we can just get past that. If we were colorblind, would we have this problem? How do we get there? It's all about conversation. We must continue to talk with one another. Sometimes the conversations are very hard and very difficult for some. But the longer and the more we have the conversations, it gets easier and the change can happen. It's nothing more than changing the culture. And I speak to that, or I will be speaking about that in one of the future books, but it's about changing the culture, and that's what makes the difference.
So we had good news yesterday. Barnes & Noble has this available. Tomorrow, Amazon has it available. So I think you should narrate your own book, because I can listen to your voice. 90 minutes is not enough. So you should narrate your own book so I can listen to it on Audible. So I think we're all gonna, this is the month of book buying. So this is the first one on your list. Tomorrow we're gonna celebrate you. I keep waiting, I sign into Amazon and I wanna hit it and buy it. Because in this community, you know, we're mastermind partners. We're part of a very special group of people. There are so many mastermind circles in this community, all of them doing great things, but it's been wonderful to be able to watch you breathe life into this mastermind request, to walk your talk, to be able to stand here with this book present. So we celebrate people who are moving forward. Glenn is always about moving us forward. So we have to celebrate that too when that happens. So I want to ask you, so you're here with your grandpa, you're 15 years old. Two questions. One is, what have you learned from him that you think is the most important in your life today as a 15-year-old? What have you learned from him? And then the same question I asked him, I'm going to ask you. Because you're 15 walking into this world, and you see the gap between the way it should be and the way you want it to be. So what have you learned, and what's your hope?
Well, I've learned quite a few things from my grandfather, but I learned the importance of sharing your life story and how a man like him, his fiercefulness and how he was strong and how he helped others and wanted to make a difference is important. And me, myself, I find that a huge inspiration for being 15 years old, that I can look up to him and I have a strong figure in my life to look up to and want to be when I'm older, or want to help people in my generation to have a good example of. And sorry, what was the other question?
The question is, that was awesome, by the way.
Thank you.
She's going to give you a run for your money.
That's the game plan.
So what's your vision? What do you want? Is same question I asked your grandpa. This issue of the great divide that has been his experience.
Well, my hope is that one day we can be in a world where it's just this is not a problem. We don't have to worry about this. You can have whatever job, you can have whatever religion, whatever anything, and you're able to be together and not be separated, not look at a certain race or a certain culture or anything and judge anyone off by it. And that maybe one day we can all together be together and not feel the separation and divide that we felt through many years. And I'm from Canada, so I feel like it's really important for me to bring my grandfather's book to my Canadian friends and family so they can have an understanding and a good representation of a man from America who has done a lot for his country and has done a lot for the people around him. So.
And we didn't talk ahead of time. That's how good she is. Dr. King would be proud today. Proud of your walk and proud of your vision. And in this community, we're all proud of you. We're going to buy your book. We can't wait for the third of 3. And we're going to celebrate you, seeing you travel safely back to Canada and continue to change your community, your world. And this morning, you touched ours. We love you and we appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.